I've talked about Townstar and Common Ground Worlds, whatever you want to call it now, and I'm sure some of you may be sick of it, but if you're a Townstar fan, you're probably really annoyed with Townstar. Well, they just did something else really annoying. They've announced what they're going to do with the Townstar node, and it's not good. My good friend Old Man Smithers here has a really good breakdown, and I want to share what he had to say. And in fact, his Twitter description is an old man, his lawn, and a lot of salt. I'm shaking my fist too today. There are times when I wonder if I'm just too harsh on Gala Games, and I've had that thought as well. Sometimes I think maybe I'm too harsh, but what he says next is pretty much usually where I end up going. He says, then they go and do stuff like this, and I remember why my blood pressure spikes every time I see their name. Let's take a look at the newly announced Common Ground World nodes. First, some background. Town nodes were sold by Gala Games at the end of 2021. The first nodes went for around 4,000, the second for 14,000. By the way, he corrected this in a later tweet. It's actually around 10,000 for the first one. So they were pretty expensive, right? This is not something I think most people would, that's like you can almost get a car for that. Well, maybe half a car. I mean, the Mazda 3 that I drive is now you get for about 22,000. I think it was less than that when I bought it. They were originally sold with the promise that they'd host the Townstar game, earn distributions, enable in-game benefits to the owner, and people renting out those benefits. Well, guess what? None of that happened. And why didn't it happen? Because Town Play to Earn ended a little while before. When faced with a failed product and an irate customer base, a reasonable company would cut their losses, offer refunds, and try to maintain some semblance of community trust. I've been talking about this all along. After all, burning your customers inevitably means no more customers. Yes, you have to take care of your customers. Gala Games went another route, ignore the problem and hope it goes away. When people brought up the nodes, they deflect with excuses and promises. You guys are absolutely going to blank yourselves when you realize the impact Townstar nodes have on the whole future of things and what you will likely be able to get from them. This is from August 16th. You will point and laugh at the people who salty sell them because utility is awesome. Is there anybody pointing and laughing at those Townstar node people who sold them? That was a few weeks ago, by the way, which is an unbelievable thing to say when you sold these nodes and then just completely erased any utility for them. That wasn't like at the time. That was just recent. That was in August, not that long ago. A month later, the embattled CEO of Gala Games, Alex Schwirmeyer, is known as benefactor. He has not been much of a benefactor, by the way, floated the idea of getting town node owners film or music nodes. I've already posted my response to this hypothetical, which equated to, I don't want compensation in the form of another bag of broken promises. Well, wait, this time it's going to be totally different. Sarcasm detected. During yesterday's Twitch stream, I tried to grab a clip, but it's already been removed. Bitbender told me that an article about town nodes was going to drop that me and my giant pillar of salt would really like. I'll admit I chuckled at the pillar of salt comment. It is pretty funny. With bated breath, me and my pillar of salt waited for the article, constantly refreshing the Gala Games Medium account. By the way, that's a level of dedication I am not going to do. I'll go check it periodically, but I'm not going to do that. Was it an announcement of utility finally being implemented? Nope. Another bag of potentially broken promises. And you kind of put them side by side, but the gist of it is, if you'll notice, there's a ton of will and eventually qualifiers in both statements. It's promises for future utility. The only thing the new announcement is missing that the old one has is a disclaimer, some of this may not work out, which they really should add. Yeah. But you say they warned you. In the original, that might not happen. True. They'd have shrugged, and if they had shrugged and given refunds, I wouldn't be mad about it. Disappointed, but not mad. Anyway, now they're introducing, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, Dirt, which is a streak tracking soft token. One criticism that has been leveled is that people felt they have been running their nodes for nothing. Going forward, that will no longer be the case. We will implement a streak-based node operation mechanism similar to that used in Gala Film nodes to distribute a database-only tracking counter dedicated exclusively to monitoring and recording the operational status of nodes. The notional tracking counter is called Dirt. That's right, they're literally compensating you with dirt. Just to be clear. Our criticism, let's see, Dirt acts as a testament to a node's reliability and efficiency. By the way, this is a coin with no utility. So he says, see, Gala has moved away from actual coin tokens lately. Those are tough to handle, requiring smart contracts, transparency, and lawyers. Instead, they've been moving towards soft tokens like beams for Gala Music, popcorn for Gala Film, and now dirt. Soft tokens are not tokens. They're really not. They're just points held on a database. They've got nothing to do with blockchain that I can tell. Appeared no different from the virtual currency any mainstream game studio has. So very Web3, he says sarcastically. Also notice that nowhere in there do they tell you what dirt is actually going to be used for, aside from one small sentence that says it will be used to calculate the future distributions on-chain. More promised utility, but at least they used the word chain there. I tracked 1 dirt worth of my snarky Web3 comments. And I can't help but think of the episode where Dwight Schrute is in charge of the office, and he's talking about Schrute bucks, and Stanley says, "Oh, it's worth about 20 Stanley nickels." You just can't make this stuff up. It's like, do they understand that nobody cares about their worthless pretend token? You guys gotta pay attention to when you get involved with projects like this. Keep an eye on stuff. Future promises are not worth the ink they're printed on or the bandwidth they're printed on. Make sure that promise is happening now, and even then be leery. I'm not going to run any nodes for anybody unless there's actual utility that I get something from it. And you're basically paying them to help them run their network, by the way, for nothing, for free. In fact, it's actually probably costing you. It's just another empty bag of promises from Gala, and this is why I generally don't support Gala. I like what I saw from the Champions Arena because at least it came out finished. It wasn't like a half of a game that someday we'll get around to fixing it. So I give them credit for that, but yeah, this stuff with the dirt nodes, it just gets worse and worse. And I think people at Townstar, they just want the game to work. They want the bugs to be fixed, and they want Earn turned back on because it's been almost a year and a half, and it's still not on.